slept a little better last night. Sleep has not been too good this last week or so, and I guess with the brain fog and dissociation, it's still quite pronounced. So I've been dealing with that this past week and not really been wanting to vlog, even today and now. But I thought maybe it's a good grounding thing to do. I guess that's one of the challenges, feeling the way I'm feeling. I'll call it dissociation for the moment. But I still haven't really revisited that kind of definition, just to see if my symptoms are only just that, or if it's other things as well. But so yeah, that's been one of the perhaps reasons I haven't managed to vlog this past week, or it feels like the recordings have been a bit more spaced out as well. So just been finding it really hard just to try and be present. It feels like it's a painful effort to do that. So I'm not sure if I'm assuming it's just my mind being more erratic, more, it's hard to describe. Birds are having fun up there. More and more I hear the birds on the roof, and maybe squirrels as well. I don't know if they're just like building a nest or something. Yeah, more and more I've been feeling the effects of not being able to focus, and I think a big part of that is my sleep as well. I think that's, well, I say big part, maybe it's definitely contributing to it. And the challenging thing is, when it comes to sort of evening time, I find that it's just really hard to get myself to do healthy habits for sleep. And some nights I can, I think, when I'm extremely exhausted, or where it's just really painful to be that tired or that sort of disorientated. But I think in the evenings, I tend to lose sort of control. Maybe I'm more dissociated or more detached, and it's harder to grind and to sort of encourage myself to do sort of healthy habits before bed, like, get myself ready for bed, dim the lights, or minimize the amount of sort of light exposure on the computer, or maybe doing something that's less sort of stimulating than watching YouTube or something before bed. Hopefully, in a sense, feeling worse than as I am in the moment, hopefully encourage me to try and gather some strength and focus this evening to have a healthy sort of a healthy evening, or healthy approach to sleep. my body's been feeling a bit run down the past few days. So I've had like a bit of a cold and a bit of a fever as well, all kind of fighting it off. It never really got hold. So kind of been dealing with that as well. Yeah, maybe some good things to acknowledge this past week. On one of the days, it took every ounce of effort, but I managed to cook. And the dish I had, it unfortunately upset my stomach on the second day of having it. So I'm not sure if that's because it's affecting my IBS stuff. So, but yeah, I remember on the day of cooking the meal, I had not much food at all in my place, and I was contemplating getting a takeaway, then thinking about my sort of pre-diabetic, I don't know if you call it a diagnosis, but pre-diabetic state of my body. So I was kind of fighting that as well, because a lot of, I guess, the takeaway food will include white flour or French fries or something that I guess breaks down into sugar quite quickly and not good for me. So I feel like I was fighting this battle on all fronts of not having the energy to cook, wanting perhaps something simple and easy, and then also dealing with food that won't help my body right now, but then comfort food and binge eating and all of that stuff as well. So it's a lot to kind of deal with, and I think the last 3 days or the last several days, it's been that kind of, each day it's been that monumental effort. One of the days was cooking a meal. Another of the days was mopping the floor. It took a huge effort. That was when I started getting a bit of a cold, and then I think it was yesterday morning I managed to kind of, after such a long time, to clean the shower cubicle. It's not sparkling, but I managed to kind of just give the base of it a good scrub, and that took a lot of effort to do, and I probably breathed in too much of the cleaning spray. I think I need to change how I do it. Maybe open the window and shower door and do it as ventilated as possible. This time around I kind of did it just before taking a shower, so the door was closed and everything was probably it probably wasn't enough circulation there. So so it's been a few days of just monumental effort, and also just the little tasks as well, even washing my face in evenings, and kind of dealing with my sensitive skin, my face. So kind of past loads of acne issues, and now I've kind of got a bit of a simple sort of healthy sort of face wash that I use, and moisturizer, and I try and to even just do that in the evenings before bed and brushing my teeth. It's an extra sort of smaller weight, but all those weights add up. So yeah, it feels like I've been constantly putting in the effort, I guess, feeding the effort I have to put in each day, to things that perhaps seemed so seamless early on, but now everything feels like a weight. So just kind of acknowledging that, really. So you kind of add in those daily weights that I deal with, like taking a shower, with the medication stuff and medicated moisturizer. Doing that is a big weight, and then evening times, of course, brushing my teeth, washing my face is another weight, and then in the daytimes I'm now trying to deal with sleep stuff as well, which means getting some morning light when I can. I did do that today, really. Yeah, cooking and cleaning is like a huge weight. It's probably like those things alone are just like as much as I can, or in some ways it's more than I can handle. Kind of, it's always a struggle. So today I'm looking to go to the library and experiment with reading again. Trying to, maybe first thing is trying to find a fiction book that I can, it's interesting enough for me to put myself through the pain of reading. I guess that's a challenge for me. So I'm gonna, after recording this, the library opens in the early afternoon, so I'm gonna go there and do that. I have to return something as well. The headphones I've got at the moment that I use for sort of watching Netflix or YouTube are really uncomfortable, so I ordered another pair, and it was just clear that I need to wear my glasses more often now, pretty much all the time, especially when watching something, because my eyes just get strained. And they were kind of over ear headphones, and it was just it was just too painful. So I've decided to instead get like a sort of cheap, hopefully a cheap good one, a Bluetooth speaker, just to experiment with using that more often with listening to music or watching something. Before, I've always been too anxious to have something loud in the room. It feels like it's safer to have it on headphones, but I'm finding that I'm becoming more aware of how much pressure headphones can put on my head, especially when you're wearing them for hours a day, day after day. It kind of, and when I go outside I use my sort of noise cancelling headphones. So yeah, I'm going to see how that goes, just to use the Bluetooth speaker and try and be a bit more comfortable with people, perhaps overhearing what I'm watching or listening to. And I thought, if I really do want some privacy, like if I'm watching ASMR and I don't want that to be, well, number one, I want it to be more effective on the headphones versus an audio, and also if I'm self-conscious, like people overhearing that, I can sort of listen to that with my sort of noise cancelling headphones. For that, like, I can make it almost a sort of a more of an important time, so I'm not just sort of flippantly putting it on, ASMR on. I can make it like, okay, let's do half an hour of just watching this, and it kind of, I had the sense that it may make my time more important, or I value that I don't get in this stream where 2-3 hours go by and I just flick from video to video, or this to this, and a bit of ASMR, a bit of this, watching a bit of chess, or it makes my time more conscious. I think that's, so kind of trying to use that as an advantage. Again, it feels like I'm just not making sense. It feels like my words are sticking together. And it's really hard to talk at the moment, and I'm gonna so maybe I'll make this a short one. A few things: going to the library, getting a fiction book, and just having low expectations about that, and also no expectations or measurements for reading, perhaps, or if there is a direction for it, it can be extremely light, like, okay, let's do 5 minutes of reading, and it won't be really the 5 minutes that's important. It will be the actual doing of the reading, the connecting to the reading and being in that sort of grounded state for 5 minutes. It could be 2 minutes or 10 minutes, but I think the important thing is just to do things with more mindfulness and consciousness. I think that will be healthy. It will help my mind, perhaps it will offset, hopefully, the erraticness of my mind at the moment. So I need to find an interesting enough book that allows me to want to read and stay grounded and connected with that. When I get back, do a little bit of editing, and again with the editing, I perhaps want to do it in like almost small gulps, as remember Stephen King, something about reading and writing or something. You can do it in sort of short spells and sort of long periods as well. So even if it's just like 5 minutes of editing and then taking a small break and then doing another 5 minutes of editing, which is completely opposite to all of the sort of writing tips and things about no distractions, about setting yourself a timer, doing an hour, and it feels like all of that stuff is just not available to me anymore. So I've got to almost sort of meet myself where I am, and it kind of almost feels like I'm swimming against the current, because I've got all of this sort of years of writing advice and habits of wanting to immerse and do 2 hours of it, but right now that's not going to be a good idea for me. So so do a little bit of editing, and I need to, one of the sort of more focuses on my day now, struggling to talk, is food. Feels like that's a lot of part of my day. A lot of thinking or thoughts go into that. So for example, I've no idea what I'm going to have today. I've just had some porridge this morning with some coffee. So in this past week I've stayed relatively okay with food. I've not had anything really unhealthy or like loads of white flour or anything, or white carbs. Just to figure out kind of a healthy sort of appetizing meals for today. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think because I'm heading out to the library, I can hit a small shop that's just opposite there and maybe get something from there. I do have some tomato soup in the fridge. It's a sort of pre-made one from the shop that needs finishing. I don't fancy cooking again, really. I was thinking maybe to making some pasta. I've got some wholemeal pasta and a small jar of pasta sauce I can use, and I just need to find, maybe when I go to that shop I can try and get some like vegetarian sausages or some sort of protein I can add into there. It feels like my body's still recovering from the last few days, so my appetite's not that great. So sometimes it's a positive, so it doesn't mean I have to eat as much, which may not be a good thing sometimes. So I probably need the energy. It's too much to think about food for the next few days, but I can maybe just for the moment take care of today, and also be mindful that not to put too much remember that my body's still recovering from whatever sort of cold that's still there, so I need to be aware not to burn myself out and hit the pedal and sort of full max and try and do a bunch of things when I need to kind of prioritize just recovering from this potential cold. So yeah, I think that covers everything really, especially for today. So potential a meal, some food potentially for today. So I've got a soup and maybe some pasta this evening. Yeah, maybe if it's possible to sort of decide maybe later in the day sort of map out a little bit of my evening instead of just falling into this haze of just whether it's YouTube or so I'm watching a lot of sort of poker recently, and again there's so much content on YouTube, poker, people playing and interviews and other things. So yeah, maybe just be a bit more conscious of my time to say, okay, I'm going to watch, with the balance of not being too rigid, but just some sort of, okay, let's watch an hour of YouTube, and then after that let's put on a movie, and then after that it's bedtime. So have a bit more definition to my evening instead of just it being an open canvas that sometimes we can draw some faint pencil lines on there. So it's not too rigid, but there's some shape to the evening. That might be good. Again, that's going to be a challenge to do, because when I'm in this kind of mental sort of fog and mental pain as well, you just don't want to do anything. You just feel it's easy just to feel helpless and just kind of take, and just look for little hits of pleasure and not have any definition to the evening. Sometimes it can feel, I think part of that is even sort of a very light, sort of loose plan can still feel, because I don't know if it's because I'm in so much sort of pain or discomfort or whatever, mental haze, that it just adds more strain and pressure. So it doesn't feel like there's much room even sometimes to pull in a loose kind of shape to the evening, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to acknowledge that it's going to take a lot of effort to do that. Again, it's not going to be a sort of seamless thing as it used to be, but just acknowledge that effort, like walking up a hill, just sort of prepare myself to kind of walk up that sort of mental hill of doing that, perhaps, and see how that goes. Glad the sun's out, so it's a good time to go outside now. And yeah, maybe I'll put on some sort of frequency music as I walk to the library, and also when I'm in the library as well, just to sort of calm myself down, because I think looking for a book and reading pages and trying to decide, all of that takes so much energy. So I think some music will help. Yeah, maybe just take a few moments to settle before even now, just to try and ground in this moment, it's just taking more and more effort. I think it's useful for me to also strip away all of my sort of old expectations and things, like even like before, I could be sort of present for hours, or now it's seconds. So I've got to kind of take away the old expectations and just, okay, let's just be mindful for a few seconds. Can I do that, or can I just take a a deep breath. So yeah, kind of adjusting my lens of where I'm at the moment. I think that's important to do across the board of everything with me. It kind of everything, it encompasses everything. So yeah, I think that's it for this one.